gosh, what do we think we're doing? Like, really?
Tomfoolery. That's what we're doing.
Yeah. Like, who do we actually think we are to be trying to do video with this podcast?
A little
Uh,
over the top. Just
yeah,
a little OTT.
yeah. We both of us were like up at after midnight last night.
Freaking out.
Yeah, like, are we sure this is a good idea? What are we thinking?
Yeah.
But it's been a year since we've started the podcast. Um, it's even been a year today. I saw in my Facebook memories this morning since we made the official like social media push.
Which was so stressful.
Yes.
That was so stressful.
And now here we are, season 5
Mm-hmm.
with video
And you with your
on
professional
YouTube.
setup over there.
Well, it certainly helps to have a husband who's a media teacher.
True facts. True facts.
Um, I worked in an event space for a little while,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a bride who made this,
Amazing.
and I fell in love with it, and so I purchased it from her. And I've had it here like just to have, just because I thought it was
Mm-hmm.
so pretty for
Yeah.
years. And then my husband and I share a desk, so I get his lighting
Mm-hmm.
because he does YouTube and he's a professional. And I was like, I don't love the way this looks right now. Like, can you just fix it? Like, we have plans for this. This is kind of our temporary setup. There's going to be like greenery and stuff like that, but I didn't have time to get that at 10 o'clock last night. So he came and did like lighting for me. Bless him. The stressful times. But look at you, how cute you are at 6 a.m.
This is pushing it. But we made it. We
Yeah.
made it. You'll as we do videos, you'll probably see me in different spots because this is the spot where my desk is over. Can't see my thumb on that side. And it's a mess this morning because I actually have been using my desk, and then my wall on the opposite side still has decoration from when our bedroom was a nursery. And that sounds awkward. So we're not going to show that to people today. Um, so yeah, we're just playing with this and figuring out where settling in feels best. And I apologize because apparently I have a tripod in this house somewhere and I don't know where. So hopefully we'll find that before next time too. So
We'll find it. This is the first episode of season 5.
yep.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
And y'all, okay, so we're recording this May 2nd,
Mm-hmm.
and either the last day of the month or the very first day of the month, I will sit down and I will try to do like a, what do you call it? Um,
Analytics.
yeah, I'll sit down and like do overview. That's what I'm trying to
Mm-hmm.
get out. I'll do an overview of the analytics and see like what episodes have been downloaded lately and have there been any new episodes or older episodes that have been downloaded? Um, how many listens have we had? What does social media look like? And I called Diana after 11:30, freaking out
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know who y'all are.
But we love you.
Yeah.
We love you a lot.
Yeah. They're a group of like 4 to 6 of you. It 4 was the most common number, so I'm assuming it's a friend group of like 4-ish.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks. Um, from season 2, I think it's episode 6, How We Homeschool,
Mm-hmm.
on
Mm-hmm.
every single episode that we have had since then
Mm-hmm.
has had at least one new download. Almost all of them have had 4 downloads in the last 30 days. A couple of them have had 6.
Mm-hmm.
One had 8. One had 27. So thank you, Wantina.
Mm-hmm. Valentina's the bomb.
She's the best.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And if you
before,
don't know who Wantina is, go back to last season because she's the bomb.
yeah, before the Wantina interview, we had the number 1 episode was season 1, the Diana reacts to Reddit, and we
Wonder why that
had
was.
we were sitting right at 32 views, or
Mm-hmm.
not views, I guess, 32 downloads. And then like Wantina's episode dropped and we had 32 views in the first 24 hours, or downloads. I don't know why I'm saying views. I guess because I'm so excited that like
Because you
I
can see
can
my face.
view you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
But we had 32 downloads in like 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And I was blown away. And then when we got to 40, I was like freaking out, like, this is it. This is it. My notebook's laying beside of me. We
Also, if you don't
had,
already know, Amanda and I are obsessed with pens and notebooks. Pretty
yes.
sure that should be something people are aware of at this point.
And I stole this one from my husband. Um, oh gosh, where did it go? Call the midwife. Seriously, call the midwife was 72 downloads as of last night.
I love it.
Like, holy cow. And then Wantina messaged us and was like, someone listened to your podcast,
Mm-hmm.
sent it to their sister, and their sister traveled to give birth. Like,
Mm-hmm.
thank you. Holy cow.
Yeah. And it sounds like they got the birth that they were wanting. It wasn't easy, of course. Birth is never easy, but it sounds like that's what they were looking for. So I'm super pumped about that.
Yeah. I'm
I kind of
just,
hate that they had to travel so far for it, but I'm so glad they got what they
yeah,
needed.
yeah. But
So, welcome to
thank you.
season 5.
Yeah. And
If you feel generous, please, please, please share our podcast with people and rate us on podcast or Spotify or wherever you guys are, because you all know in our lives of algorithm that that's going to make a huge difference for us.
yeah,
The great beast that is algorithm will help us to be found by other people when you like our podcast.
yes. Yes, yes, yes. We are available most places. I saw in my memories from Facebook that even then I was like, Amazon is a beast and I'm still trying to get that figured out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 1 year later, it's a bigger beast than I realized, and we've still not got it figured out.
Yeah, as much as we advertise for Audible, you'd think they'd really like us.
Right? Across the platforms. I've talked about it on TikTok too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I
we
think
always talk
there's
about
been an
Audible.
Instagram about a couple of it. Like,
Oh yeah, we're big fans of Audible.
yeah. But yeah, that's the only one that I can think of that has not started streaming our podcast.
Mm-hmm.
There may be others. I haven't checked it in a while. I should probably check that to see if there's been new platforms come out.
The
Uh,
only two I really use are Spotify and podcast, Apple Podcast.
mhm.
But that's because I have so many apps on my phone. The idea of downloading another app hurts me a lot.
Oh,
I
not me.
have a so part of our catch up is I'm going to a convention this weekend. Speaking of apps, and they want me to download another app
Mhm.
because that's how they update you if there's any changes is through their app. Like they push out updates for like rooms and times and things like that. I'm like, do I have to? I don't want to. But for them, I'll download it and then I'll probably get rid of it as soon as I'm leaving the convention center. Like, bye.
You need to do folders.
I have folders.
And you need to just let me organize your folders.
Probably, yeah.
Like, I'm trying to look to see if there's anything like, I don't want to show like my kid's face, but like, man, I love it. It is so super like, and I go through once a month, and so like the Schwann's app here and my unpainted fingernails, the Schwann's app will eventually go into probably shopping. The ones that I need to get to quickly are like right there. So Aqua Tots for swim class and Life 360 Skyview, which is a really cool app to have. Are right there. And then oops. I have Mobile Patrol because I need all of the tea.
Which we're going to work on this episode. We're going to do some tea spilling this episode, and I'm pumped about that episode.
This episode?
No, this
season.
Season.
Yes. Oh, I'm so excited for this season.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you live in my hometown and you get arrested, if you live anywhere around my hometown and you have to go to jail in my hometown and you get arrested, I'm gonna know it. If you have to go to court, I'm gonna know it because I keep that on my phone too. And I regularly check court dockets because it's really interesting the things that you find out when you go through.
Doesn't it get repetitive? I feel like it would get repetitive at some point. Although that is how we found out about the neighbors sharing private things that they should not have been sharing.
What?
Weren't they neighbors and sisters and they got mad at each other for sharing? Wasn't that where you learned about that from?
Oh, no, that was a news story.
Oh, okay.
And they were cousins. I scroll quickly. Like, I'll look through the week and I'll scroll and see if a name, like, catches my eye, a name that I recognize. And then it has, like, why they're in court usually. That's always fun.
Yeah, so keep in mind, folks, those things are public record. And Amanda will find out.
Yes. Because I am the nosy neighbor. If you don't know this about me already, I don't feel like you've been paying attention.
There was something that happened in your guys' neighborhood, and there were police lights and everything outside, and you called me because you were so excited you couldn't sleep, and you had to talk to somebody about it. And you were literally standing at your window like this while you were on video with me. So yes, Amanda is the nosy neighbor all the way.
So that particular night, and it was a good thing I was nosy that night because I'm sitting here and there's like a big curve around our house, and I'm sitting here and I'm like, that car has been sitting there forever. And it's making me a little bit nervous. Like, why is it just sitting there? And I keep watching and it's not moving at all. And I was like, hey, Shane, do you think that they are okay? Like, did they wreck? What's going on? And he goes over and he's like, oh my gosh, no, they wrecked. They wrecked in our neighbor's yard. And so I was like, you should go see if they're okay. I will text the neighbor to be like, hey, did you know there is a truck in your front yard right now? And I text them and they're like, no. Their husband's on his way out right now.
Oh no, they were home, that's right.
Yeah. And so the husbands ran out to check on them. When they get out there, it's a mother and daughter. And they are under the influence. And they're like fist fighting in the truck. And then the cops show up and they're still fighting.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone gets arrested, and it was some excitement in the neighborhood. And I text my
It
neighbor and
made
I was like,
Amanda's day.
well, we were sitting there eating dinner, and I was like, we should watch an episode of Little House on the Prairie. That sounds fun. And Shane was like, okay, yeah.
That's really random for you.
I love that show. But I text my neighbor and was like, man, this is so much more exciting than that Little House on the Prairie episode I just suggested.
It was, yeah. It was great.
Yeah, I'm the best neighbors. Oh, but anyway, so this is our
Mm-hmm.
May catch up.
Yep.
Our May 2023 catch up, because now we have to use years.
That's right, we do. And so for our friends who maybe are just joining us, like you just found us on YouTube, every month at the beginning of the month, we do a catch up on what happened the month before and just a rundown of where did we go, any big events happen, hot take on life at the moment.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing this episode, and we're going to be reviewing April 2023, which
Yes,
had Easter in it.
it
Do you
did.
know how long ago Easter feels right now?
Yeah. Like,
It
it,
feels a long time ago now.
for me, it's like, well, that was at least 3 months ago. But at the same time, like, the Easter holiday itself feels like forever ago. But then the events that happened at Easter is like, "Ah, that was yesterday. We are not in May. That's not possible."
Especially May of 2023. Isn't it still supposed to be January 18th?
Right?
Kind of feel like it.
Like,
Like it
I
should be
don't feel like
January
we should
18th.
be in May at this
Mm-mm.
point.
No, don't think so. Don't
Um,
think so.
but I'm
Also,
looking.
like we've got excitement at my house right now. I've got a window right here to my side, and I keep looking out the window. I'm sorry because my husband and son will be going out to dispose of a skunk at some point this morning. Um, because my son is very excited about the idea of trapping anything. And we had a groundhog living in our barn and making huge destructive holes. Like if anybody has been around a groundhog, you know they are a total pain. And so he's been setting live traps trying to catch the groundhog, and came in yesterday evening when his cousins were here to visit, announcing it's not a groundhog, it's a skunk, it's a skunk, it's a skunk. And I'm like, don't take the dog outside.
Yes.
Can't have her get sprayed again. And so since he caught it, he has to be the one who deals with it. That was the deal, except he never knew there was going to be a skunk in there.
Mm-hmm.
So I keep you up on the skunk drama.
Bless
As we
it.
go. The joys of living where we do.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, speaking of April, how was your April?
Oh my gosh. It feels like everything happened and nothing happened at the same time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like I'm looking at my calendar right now. I was on a trip at the beginning of the month,
Mm-hmm.
and then Shane had spring break.
And
Um,
you didn't come see me.
it
Still a little
was
salty about it.
it was a full spring break for me.
It was a full spring break. I know why you didn't come. It just didn't work out this year, but usually
Yeah.
Amanda gets to come see us on spring break.
Yeah. Last year we got to come on fall break, so
Mm-hmm.
still holding out for that one.
Plans. I am hoping we get to go camping this year, actually.
That would be fun.
at some point somewhere, even if it's just in a yard.
Yes. Then we had Easter. We had a couple of doctor's appointments and illnesses that changed doctor's appointments, and that's been pretty much it.
Mhm.
But I'm looking the highlights here. So we went to, I think we talked about on the March catch up, the April catch up.
The April catch up would have been talking about March. Maybe we need to change the name.
Maybe.
This is the April catch up.
Whatever, the last one that we did,
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure I mentioned that we were going to Pigeon Forge with my mom.
Yes.
We did that, and that was fun.
You got to take E to the aquarium that trip. I think
No,
that wasn't the
we
trip
had
you took
taken
to
him
the aquarium?
earlier. We took him on the first Pigeon Forge trip.
With the
We
other
had
part of the
two
family.
that month.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay.
So with Shane's family, we were staying
There was
directly
a lot more tea
beside.
spilled about that trip. I got daily text updates
Yes.
on that trip.
And then with my mom, we had tons of children.
Mm-hmm.
We like had tables for 10 everywhere we went, and 4 of the 10 were babies.
Mm-hmm.
It was great, like all single digits.
Love it.
It was so much fun. We got to do the what do you call it? The zoo, but not a typical zoo. So it's called the Rainforest Zoo.
Okay.
And it's really small, and like not a lot of people know about it. And so it's never too crowded, and you can like kind of interact with some of the animals, like the monkeys and stuff like that. It's really, really fun. We love it. And so it was fun to take the kids there.
Excuse me. And that was in Pigeon Forge?
Mhm. And then spring break, I had an appointment almost every day, but it was like fun appointments.
Mm-hmm.
So I had like massages and stuff like that. It was great. I loved it. We had Easter. Easter was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Easter with a little is a
Oh,
lot
it's a
of fun.
blast. Oh, yeah. Little people at
Especially
Easter are so much fun.
this year, like this is the first time he's able to like get into it.
Mm-hmm.
And for the whole week, he was walking around going, eggs. Where are my eggs? He have his little basket with him. And
Uh-huh.
he's discovered that he really likes hard-boiled eggs.
Nice.
And I love hard-boiled eggs.
Yes.
So it was great. And he intentionally broke almost a full dozen so that we would have to eat them.
I mean, Mom, we can't waste them.
Yeah. So when we went to
But we got
our
to do
egg
something
hunt,
about that.
yeah, when we went to our family egg hunt, I had like 5 to contribute. And he did not find a single one of the real eggs.
Whenever our kids were his age to about, I'd say 6-ish, 6 or 7-ish. We didn't do it this year, but every year they would bring home all the eggs that they had found, and we would have multiple Easter egg hunts at home just with them,
Yeah.
where they would go out and they would hide them and then they'd go find them again. Like 5 times easily. They'd go out and they'd hide them outside, or they'd hide them in the house if it was raining outside, and they'd all find them. And they'd take turns being the person who hid them and then the people who found them. Kind of sad. That didn't happen this year. I just realized. I don't know if it happened last year, but it didn't happen this year. Oh no, I don't like this. Oh no, I
We
just
had so much fun
realized.
with it. Oh.
Good, I'm glad. Because he's 2 now,
Hmm.
so he's right at the age where he can get in there and run after those and
Yeah.
really be involved in the actual hunting process.
Yeah. And he would like get so excited. And like I said, he would walk around going, eggs. Like he would call a dog. It was adorable. And he also got to help color eggs this year.
Mm-hmm.
And we tried to do like, I think at my in-laws, when he colored with my mother-in-law, she was able to get him to use the little like,
Dipper thing.
I mean, yeah, whatever that thing is, the little wire. But at our house, I tried to get him to use it.
Mm-hmm.
And at one point he goes, "No, mama," and just reaches in with his hand and picks it up and he goes, "Ah," sits it down, and then would reach in, no, and put it back.
I love it.
And
Some next year, my
mhm.
guys really liked doing the shaving cream method for coloring eggs.
Oh,
I had a lot of
yeah,
fun with that because then they could use their hands like you're supposed to use your hands in shaving cream.
yeah. We had a lot of fun. By the time we got to my mom's, I was like, "Don't even try. Just
Mm-hmm.
we'll put down multiple towels.
Mm-hmm.
Don't fill them too full because he's
Mm-hmm.
gonna like just spin the egg after a while." So
He's
that was a
gonna
lot of
enjoy
fun.
it.
But then Sunday morning, Easter Sunday, we get a text that my niece was sick the night before. And we
Mm-hmm.
were like, "Oh no, we hate that we don't get to see everybody on Easter." And they were like, "No, we think it was just food poisoning. Like it's already over. It didn't
Mm-hmm.
last very long, so we think it's food poisoning." And I was like, "Oh, hmm, okay." And I was still trying really, really hard when they brought her to church to like, I do Sunday school, so like let's keep them separate and let's make sure like
Mm-hmm.
this is your juice, this is your juice.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're basically Irish twins, like they're only 11 months apart and they're
Yep.
together all the time. So like they don't care, they just share
No.
everything.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I tried really hard to keep it separated and it worked through Sunday school, but then by the time we got to Easter dinner, that was over.
Mm-hmm.
And they both wanted Nana's cup.
Oh no.
And so we would catch both of them sneaking my mom's water bottle.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
Because hers is the best.
yeah, Sunday night, my brother got sick.
Mm-hmm.
And we were like, oh no, this was not. It's food poisoning for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then
Batten down the hatches.
Monday, my mom gets sick. Monday night, sick. And we have a doctor's appointment, a GI appointment on the 12th.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, what do we do? Because like we don't want to bring the stomach virus in on kids already having GI issues. Like that
Uh-huh.
sounds terrible. So like we called
Mm-hmm.
and they were like, "Oh, come on up. If he's good for 12 hours, we'll just go ahead and see him." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, that's great. That's great." Because we already have a hotel booked. Like we'll just that's what we'll do. And then he told me to call before we came. And so I called and they were like, he has to be symptom free for 24 hours
That's not what you
before we
told
can see him. And I was like,
me.
"But they said," and they're like, "We don't know who you talked to. Based on your description, that person's not here today. We can't see him today." I was like, "Oh my gosh." But he had felt so much better. Like
Mm-hmm.
he was finally himself.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just decided to make the best of it. And we'd already canceled swim class because the appointment was going to run into it. And we took him to the Aviation Museum in Lexington.
Mm-hmm.
And that was amazing. Like you can watch the planes take off and land, and he can sit in a Cessna and a helicopter. There was I think Shane said F-15. It's whatever the plane is in the original Top Gun.
Nice.
They have one of those there.
I mean, you could tell me any plane you wanted to, and I wouldn't know.
But he has been obsessed with airplanes lately, and so to for him to get to go, and he just walked around going, "Airplanes, airplanes." And then he picked out um one of those like propeller things that has like the propellers and then the long streak, and then you like do that, it flies, all that. Well, he got one of those and he got a fighter pilot.
Hmm.
And the whole way home they had war. Like just dog fights in the back
I
seat.
love it. I love it.
Of
Of course they did. Of course they did.
So that was really fun for us. Um, then Shane got sick on Thursday. So that was a Wednesday. Shane got sick the next day. And then one full week later, I get sick. And it was horrible.
Because you can't get sick when everybody else is sick.
Right?
Never happens. Doesn't work that way.
He got sick. We were like, okay, we're just going to let this happen for a minute.
Hmm.
When we can, we will sanitize.
Hmm.
And then Shane and I stayed in one evening and sanitized everything after he went to bed. And we like had the Clorox wipes and we had the steamers and all the antibacterial stuff. And then the very next day, Shane comes in sick. And I was like, well, I guess I have to do all of that again
Hmm.
by myself this time.
Hmm.
And I go through and I clean everything again. And I was like, well, I should be fine.
Because you haven't got it yet.
Yeah. And then a week after onset of symptoms, I was like, yeah, like I was fine. I kind of don't know how I escaped that, but I escaped it because I'm mom and he laid on me for 2 days while he was
Yes. He
sick.
was all over you. Hmm.
And how did I not get sick? But all right. And then a full week later, I woke up at 6 a.m. sick. And I did not eat for over 24 hours.
Hmm.
And even then, I really didn't want food. I only ate because I had a headache.
Hmm. And you knew your body needed it.
It was miserable. Anything else happen?
I kind of derailed a lot of your time.
It did. We were able to get the appointments rescheduled for the same month,
Hmm.
but then that meant that last Wednesday on the 26th, we had two appointments with pediatric specialties
Hmm.
on the same day
Hmm.
in two different parts of the state.
Yeah.
So that was a nightmare of a day
Yeah.
to travel that far.
You got decent answers for both of those, though, I feel like.
Yeah.
At
We
least
had to
partway
see,
decent answers.
yeah, we had to see a pediatric ophthalmologist
Hmm.
because of his clogged tear duct. And he was like, it's only partially clogged. It's going to look worse when he's sick because the sinus pressure is going to go ahead and
Right.
pinch the rest of that on and off. But like, we don't have to do surgery. If you don't want us to, we can because
Because we
it's
don't want
obviously
to do
bothering him.
surgery.
Yeah, and I was like, no, if I don't have to have my kid put to sleep, yeah, let's maybe not.
Yeah.
And he
And
was like, yeah,
two, going under anesthesia does not do good things for my heart.
yeah. He's like, yeah, I think we will be fine doing annual checkups. If it gets infected, you will know it. It will be very obvious. But he also said, like in 13 years of practicing, he'd only ever seen two infected tear ducts.
Hmm.
And so he's like, I don't think that's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
And then with the GI, I need to check his my chart and see like what the lab work said for myself. The fact that it's been almost a week now and we haven't heard is a really good thing, because he was being checked for celiacs or
Hmm.
any other type of food allergy thing. Um, and then also failure to thrive. And they finally decided like this doctor, our pediatrician and every other doctor we've seen is like, oh, he's so small. He's 0.2% height and weight.
Right.
Like not even 1%, 0.2%. He's so tiny for his age.
Mhm.
And then I go to see her and she's like, yeah, he's small, but he's proportional.
Right. I've been saying that forever.
Yeah.
He's
And she's like,
proportional. He's not like super skinny. He's not overweight. He's not like deformed. He doesn't have a
yeah.
huge head. Like he's very proportional.
But she said, when you look at weight alone and height alone, these numbers look really scary.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at it as a package deal, that makes so much more sense and it makes everything better.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not a failure to thrive, it's just he's small. It's not causing any health problems.
Mm-hmm.
And for his height, his weight was in the 50 percentile range.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, that's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Because anything less than 50 is going to be underweight. Anything more than 50 is going to be overweight. He's perfect. He is perfect the way he is. I don't want to push anything. So that was our entire month. Like I said, I feel like everything happened and nothing happened.
Mm-hmm.
So what was your April like?
It's hard to remember. Like I said, I think that was 3 months ago. I don't think that was just a couple of days ago. It feels like it was 3 months ago. I feel like there was a few bigger things. Um, like I said, we had Easter, and we only had one Easter to go to this year, and that was on my mom's side. Well, my mom's. We went to my mom's for Easter, and then we had a big Easter breakfast at church that we helped put together, and it was brilliant. That was like one of my favorite Easter breakfasts that we've ever done. Um, one of the guys at church who we rotate doing breakfast with, he was like, "Let's go Mediterranean." And I was like, "I don't know anything about the Mediterranean breakfast, but okay, I'm game." And so we had caprese salad and boiled eggs and um, Greek yogurt and fruit and what else did we have? Kind of like epic toast where you put like all of the toppings on your toast, but they had like feta and cream cheese and cucumber and salmon and a charcuterie board and fruit, a couple types of honey. It was fun. It was really fun.
I would have ate
And
eggs. That's it. I would have a couple hard-boiled eggs and be done.
the end. That's all Amanda needs. I liked it. It was really fun. Um, my kids weren't so impressed. I brought oven pancakes, and I think that's about all two of them ate. Um, but I was pumped about it because I've never had a caprese salad for breakfast, and I'm like, why have I never done this before? I love caprese salad. This was amazing. So that was fun for Easter. We did something different this year with coloring our eggs. I've always loved the pictures of people who do all like the natural dyes and how those look. And I also found pictures of where they take Mod Podge and they put like dried flowers and dried leaves and things on the eggs. And I really like that because I like our natural Easter egger eggs because we get green and blue and olive and brown and speckled and the whole gambit. And I'm like, I really like these, but I want to like jazz them up a little bit. So I started doing that. And then the girls saw what I was doing and like, Mom, can we do that? And I was like, yeah, sure. We got plenty. And so that ended up being a lot of our baskets. Um, we tried coloring. We did the traditional like little tablet things, I guess. Is that what you want to call them? That you put in the vinegar and everything and they dissolve. So we did some of those, but then I also made a batch of red cabbage, a batch of blueberry, a batch of turmeric, and a batch of onion skins. and that was fun to do those. They never, like, they didn't turn out quite like I thought they would, but they were still pretty. Like, I was still happy with them. The onion skins ended up just looking like something our chicken laid after a while. It was like, nah, this is not impressive. If all I knew was white eggs, this would be cool, but that's not all I know. And we had an Easter egg hunt, but one of my nephews informed us that he's actually getting too big for an Easter egg hunt. And so he'll participate, but can we do something cooler this year? And thankfully, none of my kids were like, well, we don't want to do an Easter egg hunt. They all still wanted to do an Easter egg hunt because I think my mom would have like cried and I would have cried too. So we still had an Easter egg hunt, but then afterwards, we started the first ever annual hatchet throwing contest for our family. And it was fun. We had a good time. Mom and dad have this tree in the backyard that has died, and dad cut it off at about 10 feet in the air. So there's still a really tall stump. And it's starting to kind of rot. So it holds the hatchets really well when you throw them. And my parents started collecting throwing hatchets and throwing knives when my brothers were teenagers because they're like, we've got to give them something to do and get some aggression out. And they enjoyed it and it was fun. So I think they have, gosh, 9 or 10 throwing hatchets and then at least 8 knives at this point. And so we had a seniors division, a juniors division, and the seniors division was split into men's and women's. And it was just fun. We just had a good time with it. And we had a scoring system to see who won and how they did. And of course, my brothers are throwing them as hard as they can because that's what they do. And you hear them going, like it was fun. So Easter was good. I'm saying a lot. Sorry, guys. My brain this morning.
It's okay.
Not all the way there. So that was fun. And then this month, I'm trying to remember, did we start that last month? No, that's this month. This month, for April, all of the 4-H things have started up. So Evie is going to take our dog Ember in dog obedience and dog agility. So every Monday, we have either dog obedience training or dog agility training. And 4-H is fantastic because we've got this lady who does both and she's teaching the kids how to do it. And she has like the scoring sheet already laid out for them. Like these are the things you need to learn and practice at home with your dog. This last...
I will say here, I was on the phone with you the other day and I hear your child come running in. I'm like, I had Ember do this.
Mm-hmm.
And we were like, oh, okay, you were like, that's nice. Did you let her go? Because she's like, I had Ember sit, I think. And you were like, did you tell her she could move again?
Yeah.
So in my head, I was like, has that been a problem? Have we just left poor Ember just sitting?
Mm-hmm. Just waiting, anticipating when do I get to move again? Yeah, that's been a problem. This last meeting that they did was the agility, and Chris took her to that meeting. And I'm kind of sad I missed it because we haven't done agility yet. And Evie is so excited about agility. That's what she actually wants to do. Like the obedience is, well, we have to do obedience in order to be in agility because that's part of the 4-H rules. But she really wants to do agility. And so apparently, not only did Evie really like agility, Ember really liked agility.
Good.
So that's good news. And Evie said, Mommy, it's going to be really hard to do obedience after we did agility. I was like, yeah, but that's part of it. We got to do that part too. So poor Ember. My dog loves everyone. Like I got her to be a protector. She would welcome a robber into our home with kisses.
Yeah.
and she's big enough and she's black, so she might scare them off just with her enthusiasm if they didn't know who she was. And I think that she would genuinely protect us if we were like threatened or menaced. But until that point, she's like, "Oh, hey, you're my new best friend, and I'm going
Yeah.
to love you." And it absolutely murders her to go to dog obedience, where she's not allowed to talk to any of the people, and she's not allowed to go say hi to any of the other dogs and play with them. And she is just, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, I want to go say hi, I want to go say hi. And she's like freaking out the whole time.
Yeah.
And she's not allowed to. And so it takes at least half of every obedience class for her to chill out enough to pay attention to what's actually happening. So we've got some work to do where we need to just like, I've had several great recommendations where they're like, you know, you need to go to Tractor Supply, sit outside the door, and get her to practice looking at you, not the new people coming in or walking around or the other dogs. And that's on me. We haven't done that yet. So hopefully this coming month, we're going to do some more of that. So that's taking up a lot of our Mondays. And then alternating between Tuesday and Wednesday, Eb is doing shooting sports. And so with 4-H shooting sports, it's a lot about like gun safety, learning about the gun, the parts of it, and taking it apart, cleaning it, things like that kind of comes down the line. Right now, it's mostly about, okay, you are always aware of what's going on around you. You're aware of your gun, like where is it pointed? Is the safety on? Do you have safety gear on? Do you have your headphones? Do you have, or not headphones, muffs, ear protection? I don't know.
Uh,
Whatever
what
word
is that
that's
called?
supposed to be.
I have multiple pairs. One is pink.
Well, anyway, whatever that's called, ear protection and eye protection. Do you have
Yeah.
ear protection and eye protection on? Um, so I'm super pumped about that. Some people that don't know us very well yet are probably like, "Oh my gosh, you're letting your child shoot a gun." I get that from some of my relatives even. So it's not just strangers, but I'm excited about it because we go over gun safety at home, but it's so nice for him to hear that from somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And someone who I trust is going to be teaching him good habits with gun safety. So everybody starts at the same level, no matter what experience you have in 4-H. And your first year is pellet rifle. And I don't want to embarrass him, but his first time, he's improved. So I'm going to share the story because he is improving. His first time he came home and he only hit 1 out of 3 targets up in the corner. And I was like, that's okay. This is your first time.
Yeah.
And so the second time he came home, he was so proud. He had the biggest smile on his face because on every target, he hit every target. And he had this tight little pattern where he was like up a little bit. He was almost in the first ring, but they were all together clustered up on the right side. So he's improving. He's doing really good. So that's going on this month. We've also had sickness this month. That's just made things really weird. We've had sinus infections. We've had a stomach bug that went around. We just recently had an ear infection that kept us home all weekend because I wasn't sure it was an ear infection at first. I was a little worried it was strep because some of the friends and cousins we've been around had strep. So those just throw a wrench in everything in all of the plans. So got those things. As you guys know, we go to a homeschool co-op on Fridays. We have like every other week we do a homeschool co-op meeting, and we've been doing that for a year. This is our first year of trying the homeschool co-op, and it's been going really well. This last month was our last regular meeting, and the focus this year was on science and the 6 days of creation and things like that. So we actually finished up all of our regular meetings, and sadly we missed our last one because of sickness. And we have one thing left, which is a science fair. So we're trying to get ready for the science fair, and I keep kicking myself because I know the experiment I want us to do. We've actually done the experiment twice, but I never document the stinking thing. Guys, so mad at myself because it's gone off great. It's worked great. But to present it, and I understand why they do this, but to present it, we want pictures, we want it on a poster board. So we have a science fair coming up. I don't know if it's a week or 2 weeks away now. And we've done an experiment, but I never documented the darn thing. So we still need to make a poster board and take pictures and talk about the scientific method and what do we predict and what actually happened. And it's a cool experiment, though. I don't know if you guys have seen the one floating around on Facebook and Instagram about the power of your words and like the different ways words can affect crystal formation when water freezes, and the different ways words can affect. There's this like reverberation plate thing that I was watching the other day, and different words made different patterns on the plate. Because, scripture talks about life and death are in the power of the tongue, and words are like a honeycomb. They can be sweetness to the soul and health to the body. And like there's just all kinds of stuff about words and the power of words. And so the experiment that we've been doing that we saw was where you take 3 jars of rice, and one of them you write and speak good things to, and then the other one you write and speak hateful things to, and then you have one that you ignore for your control group, and you see how quickly each of them grows mold and what kind of mold they grow. And it's been cool. They will all eventually grow mold. Like, you're not going to keep them from growing mold. But the one that you're speaking good things to grows significantly slower, and it's a different color.
Interesting.
Eventually, it gets to be the same color as the other ones, but it takes longer to get there. And it's just cool. Like, I thought, this is hokey. Like, this is not going to work. That was my hypothesis. But it's really cool how it works out. But I haven't taken pictures of it. Anyway, that's been going on. So we finished up co-op. We had sickness. Chris went whitewater rafting with his mom. And I missed him, but I'm glad I was not on this trip with them.
Mm-hmm.
Because they were doing a much higher level of rafting this time. That's what she wanted to do. We had gone with her on, I think we went on like size 2 and 3, or maybe like 1 size 3 rapid. And we went as a family with her last year. And she loved it. And so she's like, I want to go on bigger rapids. And so she's like, Chris, if I go on bigger rapids, will you go with me? And he's like, sure, Mom, I'll go with you. So they went on bigger rapids this year. And it was raining when they first started out. And the raft flipped on them twice. And so I was like, I'm glad you had a really good guide with you.
Yeah.
And I think they still had a good time, except for the flipping, of course. And it was cold because, it was April. Yeah. So I think it was like 60 degrees outside. So thankfully they rented like the wetsuits that you can wear so you don't feel so cold. But I'm glad that was them. I'm like, I'm going to wait for the August trip when it's hot outside and the level 3 is high enough for me. Thank you very much. I'm good. I'm not that adventurous. Eb was bummed out though because he really enjoyed the rafting last year. He's like, Mom, you could do this as a job? This is a thing? So he had a lot of fun last year chatting up the raft guides. So possibly in future we'll go back and do that, but I don't want to do these big I don't want to do those big level ones. There was a lot against it because the I guess the water level was kind of low when they went as well, so they got hung up on some rocks that they normally don't get hung up on and things like that. But it was definitely an adventure. I need to ask Chris to rate it, like for the guy who does the micro adventures. What's his rating system? It's 4 the like level, will not do again, like nothing about it was fun.
It's a level 3.
Okay. Level 2 is
Level
it was not
1,
fun while you were doing it, that you would do it again.
yeah, level 1 is it is totally, or maybe I don't know, I might be getting them backwards. It may be level 3 is totally fun.
Mm-hmm.
Would do again. Absolutely loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 is definitely in the moment. There were some fun times. There were some not fun times.
Mm-hmm.
You're not sure how this is going to turn out, but afterwards, you're glad you did it.
Mm-hmm.
And the lowest rating is, was it fun then? Looking back, nothing about it was helpful. Nothing, I learned nothing. It wasn't fun at all, and I never want to do that again.
Well, I don't think it was quite that bad, but it was definitely an adventure. There was definitely hard parts to it. So, so that was kind of April. Like, I don't feel like I had a whole lot to say. There was a lot of other things that are in there. They're just kind of little things.
Mhm.
And we tried. I make kombucha, and I tried to have 2 different kombucha classes for some of my friends that have been asking to learn how to do it, and we ended up sick both times. So we haven't got to do it yet. And I'm like, this is not a hard thing. It's not going to take me long to teach you, but I don't want to make you sick when you come over. And I've got some other friends who want to learn how to make sourdough with the einkorn that I use, and I would love to teach them to do that. But I'm like, I got to get this kombucha thing done before I try to schedule a sourdough thing, because that's going to take a lot longer.
Mhm.
And we've just had random sicknesses. So hopefully we're done with that. I really want to be done with that. I feel like there's something else. Oh, yeah. So I don't remember if I've talked about this on the podcast or not, but Chris has accepted a position with a new counseling center.
I don't think we have talked about it on the podcast.
Yeah, well, I feel like I can talk about it because he's officially put his 2 weeks in, or actually, it's more than that. He gave them like a month and a half notice.
Usually with mental health, for some, I don't know
Mhm.
why, but mental health, the standard is 1 month.
Yeah, he gave them more than that just to make sure that everything was covered. I think he gave them like a month and a half notice. So that happened in April. And we are super, super excited. So if y'all are praying, folks, pray for us for this transition, because while we're super excited, it is going to be a big change, and it is starting a whole new counseling business, a whole new company. So he has some um, clients that will probably go with him, but I don't really think he's going to have like his full roster when he gets into this new position. Like, he's not going to be completely full. So the first 3 months are just kind of like easing in, figuring it out. And then hopefully after the first 3 months, he'll have enough patients to be full time instead of just part time ish,
If
which
it
is what he
is,
has to start out as.
if Indiana is anything at all like Kentucky, it'll fill up quick.
The person who is starting the company, she's very cautious and saying, I'm not sure we're going to fill up in the first 3 months. I want to give us plenty of time. And I'm like, you guys are going to get swamped.
Mhm.
As soon as people hear your pricing schemes, your availability, like, you're going to be swamped. It is a little different. They're nonprofit and they don't take insurance, which Chris is actually kind of excited about, because if you guys don't know, with insurance, you have to have a diagnosis to get treatment. And he's very much about treating a whole person, like, not just the symptoms or whatever. He's like, I want to know what else is going on in your life. What kind of food do you eat? How much do you sleep? Like, how are you taking care of yourself? What are your family relationships like? Um, and it's difficult sometimes to do that in an insurance world.
Mhm.
Also, he said, I have lots of patients who I can't, in good conscience, clinically diagnose them with something. but they definitely would benefit from counseling. And like maybe they don't meet all of the requirements on, like you take like a survey when you come in to most counseling offices for different things. And he said they may not meet all of the requirements for this particular disorder. So we have to look for something almost that we can diagnose them for so that they can get services and get it paid for through insurance.
Mm-hmm.
But if we're just taking self-pay, I don't have to look for something. I don't have to diagnose you with something in order for you to get counseling. You think you need counseling? Let's go get counseling. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's great. It frees him up a lot with the way he can treat people and who he can treat. And they're going to be very flexible with their pay. They have all these churches supporting them that are like, we want to, what's the word I want to say? Sponsor. We want to sponsor counseling for this center. So they're going to have all kinds of scholarships for people who financially can't handle it. I'm just very, very excited about it. So that's going to be a big change for us coming up this summer.
Yeah.
And we're trying to get ready for it. And part of getting ready for it is we are going to take a family trip in May to the beach. And I'm so excited. I've been like craving the beach, craving it, which is weird because I'm a redhead and I get burnt every time. Every time I go, no matter how much I try to prep, I always get burnt. But I'm very excited to get to go this year. I didn't know if we were going to make it, but he's like, I want to take some time off and be with family before we make this switch. And so part of that time, we're going to make the effort to go to the beach.
Nice.
Very excited. So yeah, I don't know if I feel kind of like that's anticlimactic. Like there's not a whole lot in April, but it felt like a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, everything happened and nothing happened.
Mm-hmm. We were very busy.
Yeah.
We were going all the time, it felt like, or we were sick.
Yeah.
Either we were going or we were sick. So it felt very busy.
Shane and I sat down. I sit down every Sunday anyway and look at the calendar and plan out the week like day by day and all of that. What's the weather going to be? What are we going to do? And like, when are we going to fit all these things in? All that. And I sat down Sunday, so it would have been the 30th.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, there is something wrong with my calendar. Like that something is very, very, very wrong. And she's
It's
like,
not
what?
correct.
What? And I said, there's like one thing a week, not a day.
Good. You need that.
And I said, and really, there are 3 weeks in this month where the only thing that I have on the schedule is my stretch class that I do every week anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And so at this point, that's just getting to be a habit. And I really don't even need to write it down.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, something's wrong. Like, I feel like I'm missing something. Like, there's part of me that's like, I'm forgetting something major. And it's going to be a really big deal when I don't do it. And then I sat down to do the daily spreads. And it was like Monday. Well, I've got to go. We had another funeral. And I
Mm-hmm.
volunteered to help with that. I was like, I'll go. I've got to go to the bank. I've got to go to the church to help with the nursery. I've got to go pick up groceries. Um, I've got to finish the laundry. I've got to take E to gymnastics. And then Tuesday, today, recording the podcast. I have therapy today. We have a first steps meeting. We have picking up pictures 2 towns away.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, and I told you, once I got the daily stuff done, I looked at him and was like, oh, I found it. I found my calendar. Here it is.
This is my calendar. This is my normal calendar.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like this
I
is what
feel
I
like
do.
that about from this point on, that's what our life's going to be for a while until after 4-H, pretty much. Because we still need to get in regular 4-H meetings because you have to have 3 of those. We still have the dog obedience. We still have the shooting sports. There's going to be a livestock safety meeting at some point because the kids, Eb and Evie, are showing chickens. So those are going to be regular. And then I know we're going to want to have play dates. We're going to have I've got the convention coming up this month. We've got Florida coming up this month. We've got Chris changing jobs. Yeah, it's gonna be full. We're doing our podcast. Oh, something new that I am doing that I forgot about in April is I'm trying to figure out how to use gym equipment.
Yes.
And I don't know how I feel about it yet. I called Amanda at the gym last night and I was like, why are there so many TVs? Make the TVs stop.
Yeah. I have a love-hate relationship with gym equipment. But I feel like if you could work with a trainer to like have somebody else there with you who can show you like this
Yeah.
is the proper form and this is what this machine does, and if you can't do this one, this is a good alternative.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that's a good.
I have a lady who's been showing me around, and it's hard because we don't live really close to the gym. So I'm only there like maybe twice a week. And I'm only there once a week when she's there. And I'm glad she's teaching me. She's doing a great job. But she might be leaving and quitting. And I'm like, please wait. Please wait just like 2 more weeks until we get this all set up and I have a plan that I know what I'm doing. I don't like to think about it, but 40 is getting closer. And I keep hearing from my over 40 friends, they're like, please, please, please build your muscle and work on your bone density before you hit 40 because something happens sometime after 40 and it's just all a whole lot harder. And I'm like, okay, I need to listen to this because I respect all you guys and I know you're trying to be healthy. So I struggle with doing that at home. We have free weights and things like that at home, but I'm terrified of hurting myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been out once with my back, and I never want to do that again. I have too much going on in my life to be out with an injury from not using equipment properly.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I've been going to the gym is I want to build strength, I want to build muscle, build bone mass. While apparently my body likes doing that before my body wants to fight me so hard on that. It already feels like my body's fighting me, but before that.
Yeah.
So I've been doing that and we'll see how that goes. It's a learning curve. So yeah, that's a learning curve and something new that I'm trying to fit in our schedule and take seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Because up till now, like I just did life. Like I picked up kids and a dog and I chased things and I went on walks and I carried around feed bags and I carried around buckets and sometimes I would do exercise videos at home and I would do push-ups and I would do squats and things like that. So like using an arm fly machine
Yes.
feels really fabricated, like not real life.
The devil?
What?
Do you mean the devil?
Yeah, that's the one.
That's my least favorite machine. Like I can do all of the others all day long. I hate that one. Hate it.
I hate it because I have to think so hard about it. Because my trainer that I'm with, the lady, she's like, you're using your shoulders, you're using the wrong part of your arm. Stop doing that. Stop using your wrists. Stop using your biceps. You're just supposed to use these muscles right here. And I'm like, gosh darn it. I'm trying.
I feel like if I'm using that machine, I'm just using the wrong machine. I hate it. Like I'll do it. I think me and you did it a couple of times. Like I'll do it fairly regularly, like when I get to go to the gym. But I hate that machine.
Mm-hmm.
I will do rows all day. I hate the fly machine.
Yeah, I was not pleased at all. So that one and whatever, I guess it's called the pec fly, where you're supposed to pull your arms in and you're like using like these muscles. Don't like it. Not a fan.
No.
Not a fan. Give me that dang leg press machine. I'll do that all day long.
Yeah, I kind of like the leg press.
It has been kind of good for my ego though, because she's like, we're gonna start you out at 10 pounds. And I'm like, okay.
It's way too low.
And we'll do 10 pounds. And she goes, oh, you're stronger than I thought. And she's like, okay, well, let's try 15. And I'm like, okay. We do 15. And she's like, well, how would you rate that? And this is really hard for me, you guys. How do you rate the difficulty of something? I don't know. I do it or I don't do it. Like,
Mhm.
that's how I rate it. Like, I've never been asked to rate the difficulty of my chores.
Yeah.
You do it or you don't do it. You move the hay bale or you don't move the hay bale. You pick up the buckets or you don't pick up the buckets. Like, I've never been asked. Was that a 7? Do you think that was a 9? I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know. Like, what? So that's probably been the most actually annoying part of this is,
Mhm.
well, what would you rate that? And so she's like giving me 15 pounds and she's like, so what would you rate that? And I was like, I could do that all day. What's that rating? Like, is that a 4? I mean, I felt it, but I could do it for a really long time.
Yeah.
So anyway, bless her heart. She's used to helping um, mostly seniors who are coming in to like build bone mass or try to like build strength after a surgery or something like that. And because
Yeah.
all of the young people coming in don't want to ask for help. Like they don't want to be seen as not knowing what they're doing because
Mhm.
everyone's watching you. It's all about you in the gym.
Yeah.
And so she doesn't get people under the age of 50 very often. Um, she was trying to show me where one of the machines was supposed to be working the other day. And she's like, where's your shoulder blade? I can't find your shoulder blade. And I was like, what do you mean you can't find my shoulder blade? And she's like, you've got muscle over your shoulder blade and I can't find it. And I was like, well, yeah, doesn't everybody? And she's like, no, that's actually not very common. And most people, their shoulder blades just sticking out there. And I was like,
Mhm.
okay. And she's like, I'm like, is that a problem? She's like, no, it's a good thing. It means you're gonna muscle up really fast. And I'm like, okay. So it's been kind of good for my ego in that way.
Yeah.
Hard on my ego because I'm happy to learn something totally new, and I hate learning something totally new that I don't feel like I already understand.
Yeah. Um, Speaking of the whole working out, and learning new things and stuff being really freaking hard.
Mhm.
Um, Hi, Courtney. Like, we were talking, I went to my stretch class the other day and I bought my new desk off
Mhm.
of the fitness studio that I've been going to. And I'm only able to go one day a week right now because of the way our schedule is. And
Great.
Shane's been working on Mondays, but he just worked his very last Monday
Woohoo!
yesterday. So, um, I had said something about like, oh, I'm going to use this to do video for our podcast. Like, we're really excited, and I'm glad that I have this, and I'm finally able to do it. And so we were talking about podcasts, and she was like, I'm going to go listen to this. Like, I just found out that I'm crunchy, and now I have to go listen. And
She
I have
just found out
friends.
she's crunchy.
Yeah, like she didn't know that was a thing, like
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
silky
yeah.
crunchy. And then she's like, I know people that are pregnant and they would love to hear your midwife story. And I was like, well, if you go back to episode 1 or season 1, Diana also talks about her home birth story.
Mhm.
If you're interested in midwifery, or midwifery is like, that's weird for me because in my head it's always midwifery, midwifery.
Midwifery.
And we had, I think, 6 new downloads on that episode.
Yes.
Um,
That was a
but
hard episode for me, but I'm glad people are finding benefit in it.
yeah. But Shane and I have been discussing, at least for the summer, because we have to see like how the schedule next year pans out because he may be looking at a job change too. I
Mhm.
haven't told you about that yet, I don't think.
He's looked at several job changes, so I don't know about this
Oh,
one,
this one's we need to talk after. Um, but we'll have to see like how schedules pan out. But I think I'm gonna do an actual membership to Believe. I've been calling it Believe It because of the book.
because of cosmetics.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
it's Believe Fitness Studio, and it's
Mhm.
amazing. But I think what we're going to do is let me get an actual membership to do multiple classes a week.
Mhm.
And then I can do like 2 stretch classes. I can do a Pilates class. I'm really interested in doing Pilates. Part of me wants to give bar a try, but I think I need to build up more stamina before I can do that.
And I think Pilates will be a good place to start because it'll build a lot of stability.
Yeah.
Like it'll get you
And
a lot of core stability in order to handle bar.
and I don't know that I'm ever going to be ready for a strong class ever because
That's
I
kind of fun.
almost passed out the last one. So there's that. But yeah, I'm really excited and I don't brag much,
Same. Hmm.
but I'm really excited about this because I never, ever, ever would have ever guessed that this would have ever happened to me. I'm 3 pounds away from 50 pounds lost since
Amanda!
Thanksgiving.
You're such the bomb.
I like I got on the scales the other day because when we went on vacation to Pigeon Forge, I gained a lot of weight back.
Hmm.
Like overnight. We were
Hmm.
there for 2 days and I gained almost 6 pounds.
Hmm.
And I was like, oh, goalposts just got me
Hmm.
farther.
Hmm.
But then I had a stomach virus. What is it? I think it's Never Been Kissed, where they're talking and she's like, I'm one stomach virus away from my goal weight. It's like, well, let me get on the scales
I
now that I have
mean,
stomach virus.
there's a silver lining for that stomach virus.
I'm now 3 pounds away from my goal weight. I don't want a stomach virus again.
Amazing.
Um, but
Dude,
yet,
you're
like,
gonna nail 3 pounds. You're gonna do that. That's
well,
not gonna be a problem.
I'm getting to the point to where, like, so far, I've not been able to go to the gym as much. I've not been able to work out as much at home, but like, dieting has helped me
Hmm.
lose what I've lost so far. And then I'm getting to the point where diet alone is not doing it.
Right. You're
And
starting to
so,
slow down.
yeah,
Hmm.
that's why we think we probably will wait until June
Hmm.
because Shane has to work up until the Tuesday after Memorial Day.
Hmm.
And maybe even a little bit past that. We have to see what happens. So we have to see like what what's going on there before I can commit to any other days.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think I'm gonna, at least for a couple of months, do a membership to Believe.
So stinking proud of you. You've been working so
Thank you.
hard.
Thank you.
You're the bomb
Um,
diggity.
thanks. Speaking of the future,
Hmm.
this season,
Hmm.
I'm really excited. Like,
We got some fun stuff coming this season.
yeah,
Hmm.
the books that we have, like the books that we've picked,
Hmm.
they're not as fun, I don't
No,
think.
two of them aren't. I think this because so I get a book, you get a book, I get a book, and then we
Mhm.
have a book to make up for because I hit a mental health block and couldn't finish Amanda's last book.
It's okay.
That's all on me. It just had several
It's a
weeks of
hard
just.
book.
It's a hard book, and I was at capacity, like mental health wise. I was just at capacity, and I couldn't handle it. On top of everything else that was going on at that season, um, but I've got Simplicity Parenting,
Mhm.
which I am still reading. Y'all start reading now because it's taken me forever to read this book just because it's dense and it's stuff that I feel like I have to absorb. I don't know. And then Amanda has How to Keep House While You're Drowning,
Mhm.
which I've never read before and I'm really looking forward to because it's been really impactful for Amanda.
It takes a while, at least in Kentucky, to get into a counselor. Go ahead and book an appointment now.
Yeah.
I've been working with my counselor on things from this book for 3 months now.
I know you said you wanted to counsel for a while before we use it on the podcast because
Yeah.
you needed to process some of the stuff that it's brought up for you. Um, and then the other book, for me, it's a fun book. I don't know if it's going to be a fun book for Amanda, but it's All Creatures Great and Small by James Herriot. And James Herriot was a vet in the 30s in England. And Do I have to say 1930s?
Not yet.
Okay, because we're not past the 2030s yet, so I don't have to say 1930s. Anyway, and I love it. I think it's great, and it's not as heavy. There's some heavy moments, but it's more kind of like just this ramble through his life as a country vet. And there's an old 70s show about it. They just started a remake of All Creatures Great and Small on, I think it's Amazon, is who did it. And it's lovely. The old one is great. The new one is lovely. It's just so well done. I think there's 2 seasons out of it so far. And I'm looking forward to that a lot. And then we've got all kinds of other conversations that we're excited about.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what are you pumped about, Amanda?
I'm so excited about your topics that I can't remember my own. We're talking about going to the beach, I think.
Yes.
We're talking about getting ready for baby showers.
Yes.
I'm excited for those. What are my topics?
Well, one of yours that I'm excited about is mental health as a mom, basically.
Oh, yes.
Like mom mental health, how to take care of your mental health. I feel like that's a big deal. Like you and I talk about it a lot on the podcast, but just in general, there's so much pressure on moms in our society. There's so many decisions you have to make as a mom. There's it's heavy. And if you're trying to do anything against the grain, like if you're a 1,000 hours outside kind of a person, it's hard. Like you often get a lot of pushback. So I think it's important that we're talking about that. And I blanked. I printed them all off. And I totally blanked. Oh, your interview. You have an interview this month.
Yes, we've already done it.
Already recorded. Yeah.
We've already recorded it. We recorded it in March. We actually recorded it before the Wantina episode because she is so stinking busy. She does so much that if we didn't record it in March, we weren't recording.
Yeah.
And so we interviewed Jordan Carmack about professionalism. And that was a fun episode. I just love her.
Cool people. I was a little worried that she was going to be too perfect and I was not going to like her for it. But she was really cool. I enjoyed talking to her.
See, like that's what makes her Superwoman.
I still like her.
She's just like us. But like I don't know if she's still a department head. She was a department head.
Yeah.
She has her own business. She just started another podcast. Well, a podcast for her. And she's like, she sits on at least one board. I know because I elected her for that board. And she's a mom. And she's a wife.
Little.
Our kids are 3 weeks apart. And we call them E. Both of us call our kids E. And it's like, and she still gets everything done and does it and makes it look flawless. And like, oh, I didn't even try that hard. And then she's like, oh no, I struggle regularly. Like, thanks for letting me know.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite parts of the episode because she's like, no, I've got support and we need support. I'm like, thank you for being honest about that. Like, so many people make it look like they don't have support. I'm sorry, I have a weird hair thing and I can see it because we're on video and it's bugging me. So many people do all the things, but they don't talk about all the support that they have to do those things. And then you end up feeling bad about yourself because you're like, I can't do any of these things. But that's because you're doing it by yourself. Yeah. And they have a whole team backing them up. I like to think I'm growing my team, like I'm raising them. I'm going to continue to be my team eventually. But yeah, we got a great season coming up.
Yeah. I don't even remember my other topic. I'm going to have to look because it's going to drive me crazy. And also, Donna just messaged me.
I love Donna. You should totally interview Donna.
We should. I was telling Shane that the other day. I was like, that is my next goal. I think I want to interview. There's 2 people that I really want to interview. And Donna is one of them as a seasoned mom and grandma.
Well, not just that, but like she's an entrepreneur. Like
Hmm.
she started her business at an older age, the one that she's at right now, and that's a big transition. I'd love to hear her talk about that.
Oh, yeah. And then the other person I want to interview is a homeschool kid,
Yes.
but he's not a kid anymore. He's actually
Hmm.
about to get married in June, and I'm super excited for them. But I would really like to interview him and be like, hey, as two homeschool moms,
Hmm.
what did your family do really right? What did they do really wrong? Do you have any regrets? What, like, do you have any words of encouragement? What can we do differently? Uh, the reality TV spill.
Yes. I'm pumped about that one.
I'm doing all of my research for that episode.
I think you need to send me a few of your very favorite. What's the daughter who does the YouTube,
Gwendolyn?
who watches them and then her reactions?
Gwendolyn.
You need to send me a couple of those because I want to watch a couple of those before we do the tea spill.
Yeah. We are talking all about Sister Wives in that episode because I'm obsessed. Diana enjoys it. I have a problem because I have to watch Gwendolyn Brown's new drop every Friday. I don't subscribe to her Patreon, but I watch her new video drop every Friday,
Mm-hmm.
and she's just finished season 17, 14, 17. I don't know, whatever the last season was. She just finished it. And now she started back with episode 1 this last Friday.
Like
And
episode one ever.
yes,
So
season
what
1, episode
what
1,
season did she start on?
the last one.
So the most recent one.
Hmm.
That's where she started with her
Hmm.
reactions. Okay.
Um, because it was so controversial. She
Right.
was like, hey, if I'm gonna make money off this and I don't have an NDA,
Uh-huh.
let's start there and get views and work our way back. And so she did season 1, episode 1
Doesn't
this last
have an
Friday, and it was fun.
NDA.
Yeah, none of the
I didn't
kids
even
do.
think about that.
None of the kids were under contract ever. I don't know how production let that slip.
Well, because a bunch of them were like actual adults and have
Well,
become
now,
actual adults.
now. But like as they're leaving the show, I feel like Logan,
I don't
he's not under
know.
contract. Logan was the first to leave.
Mhm.
And I feel like he probably somebody from TLC should have been like, hey,
Yeah, that's the kind of deal here.
we need to not have you speak. Here's some money to get started with your
Right.
life.
Right.
Never
Right.
talk about this. This never happened for you.
I missed that.
But, like, no, they did not put gags on any of them. And the oldest are all like, no, we are done.
Mm-hmm. We want
Everyone's
out.
oldest child is like,
Is
no, we don't
out.
want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But then the next ones,
Oh man, those middles.
and they
Like,
are
isn't that just life
messy.
though? Isn't that just life? Like, we're the oldest. I'm the oldest, and I'm not gonna probably put my energy into that. I'm probably past that.
Yeah.
But those middles, they
Yeah,
were
like
there
I'm
for
not
it.
gonna sit and watch interviews of my parents talking about very intimate things.
Mm-mm.
Like that
Gross.
feels weird.
Mm-hmm.
But Gwendolyn and Peyton and
Mm-hmm.
McKelty,
Mm-hmm.
and none of them get along. Well, okay, I take that back. McKelty gets along with everybody. But I think that's very telling that McKelty gets along with everybody. How? We have some suspicions about McKelty. But Peyton and Gwendolyn can't
Mm-hmm.
stand each other. And they have a horrible past. And so they regularly come out against each other. But they're like the three of them are all making money off this.
Mm-hmm.
And Gwendolyn's has probably been the most successful because
Mm-hmm.
hers is the most genuine because she's just like, yeah, this is my family and I love all of them. I don't always like all of them,
Which is
but I
fine.
love all of my moms and I love my dad. And let's think about this objectively. And even though I don't particularly care for Robin,
Mm-hmm.
she has good points. She is very valid in the things that she has to say here.
Mm-hmm.
She was clear coming into this what she wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, I can't wait. I already have all of my notes. I watch Without a Crystal Ball almost every day. You got to check her out. She's on YouTube. Love her. And she does like deep dives. Like the other day, she just got on Pinterest and was just searching Pinterest boards. And she found my sister-in-law's closet Pinterest board.
Uh-huh.
And one of the boards was companies we support.
Uh-huh.
And she was just like, well, let's see what this is. And she found out just through that Robin Brown spent like $3,600 for hair bows to go in her bridesmaid's hair that she asked for back that were dead mummified butterflies.
Okay.
And there were two very expensive mummified butterflies on her cake.
Okay.
We try not to judge on this podcast.
I'm having a really hard
I
time.
judge her. I completely judge
Well, okay, so full disclaimer, I only spent $800 on my dress, guys.
her.
Well, was it even that much? It wasn't even that much because I got it on sale. It was originally $800. I spent $350 on my wedding dress.
Mhm.
$3,500.
For dead butterflies.
That was over half of my wedding budget.
Mm-hmm.
Our whole budget was $5,000.
Mm-hmm.
And we took over 1,000 of that and used it for our honeymoon.
Like, it's.
That's
I
insane.
enjoy watching Katie Joy Without a Crystal Ball because she is messy and she does all, like, girl does not care to take her time to find some tea.
Mhm.
And I love it.
Awesome. Well, I'm so looking forward to this season. And I hear my husband getting ready to head out. So I'm going to have to head out here in just a second
I can't believe my little is still asleep.
and take back over my house. And I have not heard, crying or gnashing of teeth. So I'm assuming the skunk disposal went well.
Probably. No one has come running in. If you guys have been listening to us last season, I edited it out, but we talked about it afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
During one of the recordings, Diana's children ran in like one at a time, like, Mom, Amber's been skunked. And she was like, no, I don't think that you're right. Like, I think you would know, and
Surely
there's
not.
should not be a question.
Surely
And then
not.
they come running back in and they were like, oh, we know that Ember has been skunked. And Diana was like, okay, maybe you're wrong. Pray that they're wrong.
Please be wrong.
And
Please be
then
wrong.
within like 2 hours, there were posts on Facebook and Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's learn how to de-skunk a dog.
Mm-hmm.
No
This
one's
is our
ran in.
homeschool lesson for today.
No one has ran in to be like, Eb's been skunked.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know how to de-skunk him now, if it happens.
Yeah. It would probably be easier because Ember is significantly more furry than he is.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say significantly. No, I'm thinking of my kid. My kid, we call them like we refer to them as the boys, the dog and the baby.
Mm-hmm.
And when we get out of the vehicle, we'll be like, "Can you get the boy? Which one? The furry one? Which one? The tall one or the short one?"
Nice. Oh man, yeah. So we have not had someone run in and say they're skunked. Also, the dog got skunked twice.
in 1 week.
How do you not learn after the first time?
Yeah.
But apparently she didn't.
Oh,
Anyway.
speaking about little, I just heard feet hit the ground.
All right. Well, friend, I'm so glad that we're back in the swing of things and we're trying something new with the videos. So, for the rest of our friends, guys, please enjoy the beautiful moments in your unvarnished life this week. We're so happy you're with us and we're so excited to see where this season takes us. Love you.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.